Hello there everyone, and welcome to our live video this evening. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Linda and I'm the founder of Just For Tummies. And tonight I have a very special guest joining me. My husband of almost 41 years at the end of November, and my fellow business partner, Kevin. And tonight we're going to be talking about colonoscopies. Recently, Kevin had to have a colonoscopy because blood was found in his stool when he received his bowel cancer screening test 7 months late due to COVID. So when he sent the sample off, it was found to have blood, and so he was called up for a colonoscopy. And Kevin and I thought it would be a really good idea to do a live about colonoscopies, explain what they are and why it's so very important to, if you're called to have a colonoscopy, to go and get it done. So I am going to introduce my husband, Kevin. Hello, Kevin.
Hello.
Stop fiddling with the curtains, Kevin.
No, I'll just open the door a bit and have a fresh air in, actually.
Yeah, I know, it's warm, isn't it? So, Kevin, I've just been explaining that tonight we're doing this live about colonoscopies because you received your bowel cancer screening kit 7 months late because of COVID, and when you actually sent your sample off, it came back positive for fecal blood in your stool, and so you were then called up to have a colonoscopy, and we both thought it a really good idea, didn't we, that we do a live to explain what a colonoscopy is, how important it is to have a colonoscopy when you're called up to do it. I mean, how important it is to carry out the bowel cancer screening test, and send it off, how important the colonoscopy is, and really what a positive experience you had with your colonoscopy. And your kind of mantra when you're talking about your experience with the colonoscopy is this, isn't it? You love saying this, don't you, Kevin? It's only your bum, don't be dumb. Go and get tested. Right. Yeah. So first of all, I just want to explain what a little bit about the bowel screening program in the UK, and then we can explain a little bit about what a colonoscopy is, and then you can tell people, explain to people your experience, what happened. Yes. So I just want to say, first of all, welcome everyone who's watching. And if you know of anyone, family, friend, co-worker that you think would benefit from learning more about bowel cancer screening, the importance of doing that test, the importance of going for a colonoscopy, then please do share this video. Bowel cancer in the UK is the second biggest cancer killer in the UK, and that's why bowel screening is so important, and why colonoscopies are important if you're found to have if your sample is found to be positive for blood, because if they can catch bowel cancer early, then the prognosis is very good, the outcome is very good. It's when things are left that it can become dangerous, and bowel cancer, if it's left too late, say stage 4, then that can be fatal, of course. So what is a colonoscopy? First of all, I'll just say that in the UK then we have this free bowel cancer screening program, don't we, where in England everyone who is registered with a GP is automatically entered into the bowel cancer screening program at the age of 60. Now, in 2021, this year, they did want to bring that age down to, I think it was 56, but I think things have been somewhat delayed because of COVID. In Scotland, it's 50, the age of 50. And I think in Wales and Northern Ireland, it's around 60. So as soon as you hit your 60th birthday, you are automatically entered into the bowel cancer screening program. And every 2 years, up until the age of 74, you automatically receive a test kit through the post that you have to carry out. And Kevin, you can explain in a minute what that test kit involves. You know how simple it is to carry out that test and it off. So I think if you can, first of all, then explain, because I know you did the bowel cancer screening test when you received the kit through the post. You had also noticed some blood in your stool.
Yes, that's what sort of alerted me, really. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was only kind of more recently, wasn't it?
Yes, I think since Christmas I noticed that when I went to the toilet, I saw spots of blood in the water, because I always look and check. I'm never afraid to do that. I hope I sound rather clear.
Can I just come in there, Kevin, because you made a really good point there. It's very important that when you have a bowel movement, you look quickly in the toilet, because you need to know what's normal for you, and you need to know, and also look on the toilet paper after you've wiped your bottom and just see if there's any blood there.
And that's where I found the blood sometimes. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I had the first screening program when I was 60, which was about 3 years ago, and that all came back clear, or negative. And I thought that's great. And then, of course, we had the pandemic. So 2 years passed, and the bowel screening program was delayed, and they closed the clinic, and for colonoscopies as well. I think it was 7 months later, just before my 63rd birthday.
Which was in September of this year.
My birthday was September, yes. But so before that, I got my second bowel screening test kit, and I did notice previous to that, like we just said about Christmas time, when I was going to the toilet, I'd have occasions where I noticed blood in the water, and also in the poo as well itself. And I thought at the time, well, maybe it's just a pile, a sore bum, just something simple. I will keep an eye on it. But at that time, they obviously couldn't see a GP, couldn't get an appointment. It was quite difficult. So I thought, well, I'm not going to be too concerned at the moment. I'll just see how it goes.
Well, you didn't have any other symptoms, did you, Kevin?
No symptoms.
I mean, for bowel cancer, for example, red flags are rapid unexplained weight loss, unexplained fatigue as well. So you had no other symptoms, did you?
No symptoms whatsoever. There was no pain, no discomfort. I went to the toilet normal. My bowel movement hadn't changed. It was as normal as it always is. I've always had, sort of, say, freely moving bowels, never a problem.
I can attest to that, everyone. Yes. Kevin has never suffered with constipation.
I've never suffered with bowels. I go every day and sometimes twice a day, so it's never been a problem. But the blood did concern me a little bit when I saw that. I thought, I'm going to keep an eye on this. And then a few days, there'd be nothing. And I thought, oh, well, it's probably just a little pile or something like that. Probably nothing to worry about. And then a few days later, it started again. And I noticed as it got more time, the blood sent more. So when the blood spat, it was on the side of the bowl, on the white bowl of the toilet, the basin. I thought that's a bit more than usual, for sort of like a little pile. But by chance, when I was thinking, well, I'm going to have to contact the doctor and get a test, that my bowel kit dropped through the door at that point. And I thought, oh, good. I can get this done and over with now, just to make sure, put my mind at rest.
So you had no hesitation at all, did you, Kevin, in doing that bowel cancer screening test?
I got no hesitation doing the test. I got no hesitation if I had to go for a colonoscopy, because I was more concerned what they were going to find, not the procedure. Because you can put up with the procedure, it's what you're going to find. And if there's anything, we're going to catch it early, and it can be treatable, because most bowel cancers, as we know, anything that can be treated
if caught early. Yes,
you've got to catch it early.
So what did you have to do with the kit then? Can you just explain that a little?
Yeah, well, the first one was a little different a couple of years ago. The new ones are much simpler.
They are, yes.
So 2 years ago, you went to the toilet, you had a poo, you caught some of the poo in a plastic takeaway dish or something like that, and then you got like a little spatula. You used to scrape some of the poo and put it onto a board, and then seal it, and then back into the envelope, and then post it back. But now it's much simpler. You don't need quite as much poo.
Yes.
So it is basically the same thing. Catch a little bit of poo in a little takeaway dish, something like that, or plastic.
Yes.
Obviously, throw it when you're done with it. I put mine in the recycling.
Don't reuse it.
I did wash it out first, so don't worry, folks. I did wash it out. Yeah. And then I put it on the little card that you get with it.
Do you get like a little brush now in these new kits? So you just have to.
So yes, it's like a little tiny, soft felty brush.
Yeah. So you just have to collect a little bit of the poo, don't you?
Yeah. Not where before it has to be a little bit more. It's just a bit simpler. And then you put it onto this little test pad. I can't remember, it might be 1 or 2 samples. Anyway, I did that. You seal it up. It's all very straightforward, very explanatory, the instructions are. And then put it in the post. And then just pray that it all comes back good. And if you remember, I think it was less than a week later, I was actually down here in my room, and you walked through the door and the envelope was on the floor. The postman had been, but I'd not picked the post up. And you shouted down to me, "Oh, it looks like your tests have come back." I said, "Oh, okay. Oh, just open it. Just let me know what it is, but don't mess about." And
well, what do you mean? I don't joke.
Yeah, I made it sick sometimes, I'll admit it. And you shout down, "Oh, it's come back positive. You've got to go for a colonoscopy." I says, "Are you sure?" And she says, "Yes." And then I knew with Linda's voice then that this was it. I thought, well, I was glad in a way, because I can now get to the bottom of it, go and get checked out properly.
Pardon the pun.
Yeah. And then get it sorted, And so there's a number on the form to ring. You speak to the bowel screening nurse, and you make the appointment. But I was very fortunate, because Queen's Medical Centre in Nottingham are absolutely fantastic. I cannot praise them enough. And I've said
I'm just interrupting. I'm just bringing this up from Susanna Gorton. I'm a bit obsessed with looking at my poo. Well, I'm really glad that you are, Susanna. Because as I said earlier, if you don't, how do you know when something's changed? How do you know if there's any blood in your poo? And Sharon said, they should lower the age limit, and I absolutely agree with you, Sharon. Really how come it's 50 in Scotland and 60 in England? It's just it should be 50. It should be 50 at least. And as I said earlier, at 74, you stop receiving these test kits automatically, but you can still request one if you want to have it done. And someone else here, Erica. Hi, Erica. Thanks for your comment. I've had several colonoscopies and they are no problem. I have diverticulosis, so it's important for me and for screening cancer. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Erica. So I just want to say before you carry on, Kev, that to anyone, look, if you know anyone who is a bit nervous, frightened, embarrassed about, well, first of all, carrying out their bowel cancer screening test, and if it's positive, having a colonoscopy, please share this video, because as I said earlier, Kevin's experience has been a very positive one with the colonoscopy. So Kev, if you want to carry on then, sorry, where did you get?
That's okay. So yes, I booked my appointment, and because they sent it was quite, I won't say urgent, but they want to get me in as soon as possible to get checked out. So I was booked in within less than 2 weeks. I think it was 10 days. I mean,
and you were so lucky, Kev, because we hear so many things on the news and from other people, because of COVID and the lockdowns that they were. I mean, okay, you had to wait your bowel cancer screening test kit was 7 months late, But as soon as you tested positive for fecal blood and you were in the system, it was just, they really did fast track you through, didn't they?
Yes, they did. Yeah.
So you were booked in to have a colonoscopy.
Yes.
They sent you all the information through the post, and they sent you the prep. Was it movie prep that they sent you?
I'd go for a blood test as well.
You had to go for a blood test, of course, to make sure that you've got no infections and things like that.
That's right, yeah.
So can you just explain to us then, how did you prepare for the colonoscopy? You know, the day before the actual procedure, how did you prepare? Right,
so the day before, obviously, I think you are a little nervous because you don't expect, you've not had one before. But like I said,
I did say to you, didn't I, Kev? I says, look, Kev, it's probably just a polyp.
Yeah,
because you've got no other obvious
symptoms, but we know that it can be silent sometimes. You never know.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Yes, yeah.
It's turning, if a polyp, it's turning nasty, or
Well, yes, because the majority of bowel cancers do develop from polyps. So, okay, then. So the day before your procedure, what did you have to do in terms of preparing for the procedure?
Well, I say a week before, you prepare really sort of probably 5-7 days before. Just change your diet a little bit. So don't eat too much processed meat, not too much fatty foods, cut down your carbohydrates. What else was the
fiber? Don't eat too much fiber.
Yeah, cut down your fiber. So eat sort of fairly normally, but keep your portion sizes down. I mean, I don't eat big portions anyway, and I'm not really a big eater, I suppose. And my diet's pretty good, so there weren't a lot of changes I had to make to that.
Your diet's pretty good, always has been. You don't smoke. Your alcohol consumption is negligible, isn't it?
It's probably not even 2 pints a month. It's always been. I've never sort of been a big drinker, any drinker really. And I don't tolerate it very well.
Although you do love your cappuccinos, Kev.
I do like a cappuccino now and again. You know, on the local the Costa or the local coffee shops. Well,
no, sorry, our local independent.
The independent one. I meant the other thing. But it's not called. What's it called? Cafe Zero? No. What's it called?
Well, there's Cafe Zero. There's Holy Cannolis.
Holy Cannolis. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So I usually go for a chat and a laugh there, don't I? And just have a bit of fun. And sometimes I go there to hide as well, to get out of the way.
To hide from whom?
Well, everybody. I just hide in the corner, just. But yes, I do that. But no, I'm not.
While you're talking, I'm just going to be bringing up some comments that people are making. So, hi, Alison. Thanks for commenting. How do you get these test kits? Well, you're automatically entered into the bowel screening program, Alison, when you reach the age of 60. And I know you haven't reached the age of 60 yet, Alison. But if you're worried, if you've seen blood in your stool, if a change in your bowel habit, rapid unexplained weight loss, unexplained tiredness, then contact your GP. Okay.
Yes, it's automatic. I mean, when I got 60, it just drops through the door.
Yes.
So you're automatically entered into the bowel screening program anyway. So you choose
if you registered with a GP, yes.
With the GP, of course, yeah. So you choose whether to do it or not. There's no law says you've got to carry out that test. You can throw it in the bin. But I wouldn't suggest you do that.
Unfortunately, lots of people do.
Yeah, some people do throw it in the bin. And I say, just do it. Why be embarrassed? And predominantly it is men, as it happens to be, that do that. Think, oh, I'm all right, I feel okay. But they're not doing that. Poo is taboo. And I just say, just do it. Just do it anyway. There's nothing to it. And then you can have a clear conscience. Because
Linda's just mentioned, Linda, hi Linda, thanks for your comment. Prep, not the nicest thing. I did have a taste of Kevin's prep, and it wasn't unpleasant, Linda, but I totally understand what you mean, because it's the actual volume that you have to drink as well, isn't it?
1 litre within 1 hour. And
1 litre within 1 hour.
Very good, and there's a bit of citrus in there. So the day before, getting onto the prep actually, the day before you need to go for a colonoscopy. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon, that is your last meal, and that's it. So they say have a good meal, whatever you want, but again, try and keep it, low fiber, not too much meat, more simple, and that's it. So you eat at 1 o'clock, and that's it. and 2 veg colonoscopy after that. And then at 6 o'clock in that same evening is when you prepare your movie prep. And so you get 2 sachets, 1 large sachet and 1 smaller sachet, and you put it into a jug.
Well, both of them together?
Yeah, the powder.
You mix them?
Yeah, and put the powder in first, both powders, stir and mix powder up, and then add 1 litre of water, and then keep stirring. And it does actually look a bit like thin wallpaper paste, actually. That's consistency. It's not like really liquidy like water. It does feel a bit slimy and a bit slightly thick. I personally didn't think it tasted that bad. But as I said to people, I'd sooner taste that than risk death with cancer. I mean, to me, what's the worst case scenario? Do you just drink the prep, go and get the procedure done and get checked out, or you're going to, leave it and not do it, and eventually something really
live in fear. Because that is living in fear, isn't it? If you don't know.
No, but it's not. It doesn't taste very nice. But I've tasted worse. When I did the liver cleanse once many years ago with you.
Oh, yes, the Epsom salts.
I'm sure that was rough. The Epsom salts. I mean, that did make you gag. So this was quite like tea in comparison.
So you drank your first lot at 6.
So you drink
6 p.m.
Yeah, 6 p.m. You've got to drink that by 7 p.m. technically. So I worked that out like 4 good glasses, so 1 every quarter of an hour, and that's it. And you wait, and I think it takes about an hour, and then you start going to the toilet, and then all of a sudden it really gets loose to the point. I think by about 8, 9 o'clock at night time, it is just water, because you have to drink water as well as keep hydrated. So I just keep.
I'm just bringing this up, Kev, from Leah. Hi, Leah. Hope you're okay. Can you pay privately for the screening kit? Yes, of course you can. You can get screening kits off the internet, or contact a nutritional therapist, and they will organise one for you. But absolutely, you can get them privately.
Yeah, of course you can. But I think if you go to your GP and you've got concerns, they'll get you to do that anyway, free of charge.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will.
I don't think you need to go private personally and pay for it, because the service I got, I couldn't have. It would be, if I'd gone private, it would have been better. I don't think. I really don't think it would have done. And people are so quick to sort of diss the NHS sometimes of certain things, and I know it don't work out for everyone every time. It's a monster to feed. But my experience, and always has been my experience with the NHS, has been very, very good. I can't praise them enough. But anyway, going back to the movie prep, so you drink that. So by about 9 o'clock, bowel is almost empty. It's like you're squirting water out, clear.
And is that painful? Is it crampy?
No, nothing at all. No, no, there's no pain there. I think you start to feel a little bit hungry, if I'm honest, by about tea time, because you're used to having a meal. It's not something you normally do, go without food for such a long time. But you just drink water. They say you can drink black tea, black coffee, but they don't advise it. So I followed it to the
letter.
To the letter, yeah, because I didn't want to get all prepared and said, I'm sorry, your bowel's not clean enough.
So what happened the following morning then, on the day of your procedure? Because you were booked in for the colonoscopy at what time?
About 3 o'clock, I think it was.
3 o'clock.
3 in the afternoon.
So what happened that morning then?
Right, so the morning you get up, well, in the night time, obviously, I think you're a little bit fidgety because you're completely empty. So you do get up in the night and pass a little bit more water. But in the morning you wake up, I think you feel a little bit sort of, tired, because obviously I had nothing to eat. You can't still eat, of course. But then you've got to get up and start your movie prep again. Yes. And that, I think it's the second time round. You think, oh God, no, please, no more. But, I'm just one of these, you mix it up, put it down, and don't think about it,
So what time was that in the morning? Right,
so ideally, a minimum of 5 hours before your colonoscopy.
Yes.
So the sooner the better. So I did mine earlier. I wanted to make sure, I didn't want to be driving to the hospital, going to the hospital, feeling I wanted to go to the toilet. I wanted to make sure it was absolutely empty. So I think I started mine about 7 o'clock in the morning. So I made my prep up, drank it within the hour, waited. And it's the same procedure again. It's just water coming out. But this time it is almost clear. a little tinge, it's almost clear.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's thinking, oh, stop before I get in the car and go, you know. But he does. By about, I think I left 1:30, something like that. Okay. I was empty. Well, you went with the first time, didn't you?
I did, yes, I did. Yeah. Because obviously with a colonoscopy, you may have to have a sedative and then you can't drive afterwards. So just before you carry on, I just want to say to everyone, hello and welcome to everyone. If you've just joined us, we're talking about colonoscopies. We're talking about the importance of when you receive your bowel cancer screening kit through the post, the importance of doing it and sending it off. And if it does come back positive and you're scheduled to have a colonoscopy, the importance of going for that colonoscopy. And Kevin, my husband, his bowel cancer screening kit was 7 months late due to COVID. And by the time he did it, it was positive for blood and he was scheduled to have a colonoscopy. So that's what we're talking about. So please do share this video to anyone you know who you feel would benefit from hearing about Kevin's positive colonoscopy experience. Okay then, Kev, so we get to the hospital and I wait in the reception area and they usher you in and I wave goodbye. So what happens then?
Right, so I went into the prep room where you have to go through, like, I did my blood test earlier, so obviously that came back all clear.
Yes, you did it a few days earlier, didn't you?
Yeah, I did that about a week earlier and then made sure that's all clear. There's no risk of MR, I say, and things like that, and other things, or infection, of course. And another day they made sure I've got no symptoms of COVID or anything like that. And then you fill in a declaration to say, you know, you have to have the procedure, you have to take the risks because, well, like any procedure, there's always risk involved. But don't worry if anything goes wrong. You're in hospital, we can get you to A&E. We've got all things in place, all measures in place. If in the worst case scenario, something does go wrong, Kevin. So don't worry. But we've got to say it could go wrong, you know, like any procedure. Surgery's not perfect. So I just said to the nurse, well, please don't get it wrong with me.
Did you say, I want the top man on this job?
I said, I want the top man. But when I did my research, actually, I saw Dr. Stefano, an Italian guy. And
gastroenterologist.
The gastroenterologist, yeah, Dr. Stefano. And I didn't realise that he's actually one of the top people there. He's really, really good. So I got a really good one. And his bedside manner was fantastic. It made me feel relaxed, you know. But anyway, I went into the room when I was all prepared. You're gowned up. You put a pair of shorts on with a slit in the back where the scope goes in. So they maintain all your dignity all the time. You're not just walking in there naked or anything like that. You're all covered. And then you walk into this room and it's quite dimly lit. It's immaculately clean and it smells very clinical. So Dr. Stefano's there getting the scope ready. There's all his team there. The bowel screen nurse who's going to explain everything to you, what the procedure is. You hop onto the couch.
How many people are actually in that room with you?
I think there'll be 1, 2, 4. So Dr. Stefano, his co-worker, the bowel screen nurse, and someone else keeping on all the machinery is working, etc. So at least 4, might have been 5, if I remember rightly. And they're all nurses. So I hopped onto the couch, got myself comfortable, and they just asked you, have you had this procedure before, Kevin? I says, no, I'm not. Okay, then, right, would you like gas or some gas in air or some sedation? I says, no, I don't. I want to see it all on the screen. Oh.
So right. You didn't have anything? You didn't have any pain relief whatsoever?
I didn't want any pain relief. I want to see my bowels, please.
You wanted to be fully aware?
Fully awake, fully aware. It went fantastic, Kevin, fantastic. You're a perfect patient, of course. And there was this huge screen in 4K TV that he moved so I could see everything, and he could, of course, as well. And he says, fantastic. He says, yes. He says, this is my first time, so good for all of us.
This is my first time. So you'd got a joker. You'd got a joker. I'm just going to read this out from Claire. I've had numerous colonoscopies, all been clear. Little bit of discomfort. Had gas and air to take that away. Don't fear them. They could save your life. Yep. Thumbs up to that, Claire. Thank you.
But
okay,
yes, I opted not to have any gas in here or any sedation because I wanted to see it. I wanted to see what was happening. I wanted to look inside. I was fascinated by it all. I told them that. So it says, yes, my first time, all I have to do is find where your bumhole is. So we had a bit of a joke about that first, and we all got along really, really well because I like this sense of humour as well. It lightens things up a little bit. And that was it, really. Everybody got prepared, and he did a digital first.
A rectal exam.
Yeah, rectal exam. And a little bit of gel and had a feel. And that felt fine. He said, yes, we can do this now. And then the scope was prepared. So it's just a long, thin scope. I would imagine about less 8 millimeters in diameter with a light on the end and the camera. So when he's moving it, it's all very bendy.
It's flexible.
All very flexible and bendy. You can see the light flashing, and you know that is now going to go up your bum. So I think the first thing is once it's in, I think you think I'm going to feel okay, you know.
But didn't they fill your bowel with gas in it first to expand it? Yes.
So once the scope's in and it goes into your rectum, then it's got several tubes and hoses in that scope that can do lots of different things.
Yeah.
So one, they can insert gas because what they want to do is once they're inside in the rectum, in the sigmoid, you know, they want to then put some gas in to blow the bowel up because it naturally wants to go flat. The bowel does, doesn't it? And mine's empty, so it will do. There's nothing in there. So as he moved it in, he's then putting gas in, and he did say the gas may feel crampy sometimes. So it's normal, and that's why I think people have the sedation sometimes because they don't like the cramping. But I want to see it all. But as soon as he inserted the scope, and I was watching, and I suppose being a physio, I got some idea what I was looking out for, and I spotted the first polyp. When they went in, I said to the bowel nurse, because she was talking to me at the same time, I says, what was that? Is that a polyp? She says, yes, it is, Kevin. Did you see it? I says, as he passed, I did, yes. I said, look, quite a big one, that did. I mean, are they not that big? She said, well, come back to that. Anyway, off we went in the scope, and it's all controlled, a bit like a PlayStation control.
Like a remote control thing.
Yeah, like a PlayStation, yeah, remote control is doing that. So you watch on the screen, and then in is going, and all the time is washing with clean water. It's all built into the scope, of course.
So he's irrigating it as he goes along.
All the bowel, but he did say this is beautiful and clean, Kevin. You've done all the prep very, very well. Well done. And then he went all the way around, and then what they do when they get round, and there's a little bit of discomfort and a little bit more gas going in, but he'll say to you, is that cramping a little bit? And I said, it does feel a bit cramped. Yes. He says, right, let go some wind. So basically fart. He tells you to let the wind go. And at first you're a bit, well, it's not something I normally do in public. You know?
Well, you do it in front of me. Often.
Yeah, I didn't used to when I first met you. I got complacent, didn't I? And then I release the gas, you know. And then what they do then they come back with the scope very slowly, and then they're looking all around the bowel.
And of course, this is important to know. With the scope, the aim is to get all the way around the large bowel to where the appendix is, to what's called the ileocecal valve, that valve, and they block the camera through that valve, and they have a look around the end of the last part of the small intestine.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
So right with me, they got right through to the ileocecal valve. In there, they was looking. Of course, I was seeing it all on screen, and the bowel nurse was talking me through it. We're looking for this now, looking for that, and I was asking questions. And to be honest, when I was lying there, I didn't realise that there was this person with the scope up my backside that's all wound all the way around my bowel.
Well, you were fascinated by what was going on the screen.
It took my mind off, I suppose, in a way. But no discomfort. Then he comes back much slower with the scope, and then having a really close look in all the folds and all the bowel wall and that. And as you come back, the bowel nurse said, "Kevin, you've got a beautiful, clean bowel." But we did notice on the way in, you've got some little polyps and a large one in the sigmoid. It's okay. And she says, we're going to decide what we're going to do today. She says, we may do those today. And I said, well, I'm happy to do them because I wanted them out. I mean, some people might say, I don't know, oh, can I come back next week or in a few weeks' time? I have to think about it. I said, well, you're in there, Dr. Stefano. If you've got the time, I'm happy to take them out now. He said, great, I think we should do them now. And so that's what he did. So his first one was concentrating on that large one. I've got a photo and I don't know if you can see it on the camera. I don't know if I can show it very well. I'll try.
Bring it. Oh, yes.
A red ring round it.
Oh, yes, we can see it.
I'm
Yes.
going to get it because.
Just get it to be clear. Yeah. Bring it up. Yes, yeah. That's it. That's it. Good.
That's the one with the red circle around it. That's the polyp. So they measured that at 50 millimetre, 5 centimetre, which is probably the size.
How big's that, Kev? I mean, that doesn't mean anything to me.
About the size of a golf ball.
Right. Okay.
So you're not far off the size of a golf ball with that.
I've just brought this comment up here by Erica. Erica asked her doctor what was the reason for her diverticulars, and he said red meat. I had polyps removed and didn't feel a thing. Your doctor, in my opinion, is not quite correct with that, Erica, because with diverticulosis, you're at an increased risk of getting diverticulosis if you suffer with constipation.
Yes,
certainly. And sometimes, and red meat in some people can cause constipation. So I just wanted to mention that.
So it's probably the constipation from the red meat that causes that. But I mean, they found a little bit of diverticulate in my bowel, and one of the diverticular was actually an inverted diverticular, or diverticulitis, let's say, and that's quite rare.
Because an inverted diverticular looks very similar to a polyp.
Yes. And like you say, they have to know the difference.
Yes, yes.
And she pointed it out, and to all of the nurses, says, "Oh, look what we've got here. We've got." Well, he said, "What have we got here? We've got an inverted diverticuli. These are quite rare." And they all want to see it. And they said, "Kevin, do you mind if I go back in again and have a good look there to show these people, and you as well, of course?" I said, "Absolutely." I mean, by this time you're getting a little bit tired. Your bowel's starting to ache a bit with the cramping and that, but no one needs to see it, and they want to see it. He said, we have to be very careful we don't snare these or take these off, because obviously it's trouble. You're going to snare the bowel wall.
Well, that's a perforation, and that can cause septicemia.
Yeah. It says so. It's very easily can be mistaken for a polyp. So he said, we don't touch that. We'll leave these.
Okay then, Kev. So they came out then. They saw that big polyp.
Yeah. So he says, "Well, I'm going to do that."
And that was the one that was bleeding.
That's the one that was bleeding because it's very, very close, to the anus where big poo comes out, basically. So it was rubbing sometimes and making it bleed. They said they'd not seen a polyp that size for quite some time, but they said it was 5 centimetre. I didn't disagree with them, but I looked at it, and I'm an ex-engineer, and I can tell things measurements-wise.
You're pretty good with measurements, yes. I'm hopeless.
I thought it was more nearer 3 centimetres, but I wasn't going to argue with them.
Still a good size.
It's still a good size, and I wasn't going to argue and make a point of it because it's still got that scope up my bum. So I thought, I'll agree with him.
So what did they decide to do?
So it came out with the scope. He says, right, we can do this now, Kevin. We're in here. We're going to snare it, basically. So a snare, and again, it's all done through the scope. It's a bit like a loop, a steel wire loop.
Like a lasso.
Like a lasso, yeah. So they drop it over the top, and then his assistant, he'll say, when I say pull, pull. A bit like clay pigeon shooting, isn't it? Pull. So he says, we're going to snare this off. But it was so big, they have to do it in 3 sections.
Yes.
So they take it at an angle from the top. So it's snare 3 sections off.
Yes, okay.
So that's what they did. They snared 3 chunks off. 2 came out, effectively out like little claws. And the one's still in there, but it got it snared off. And of course, there'll be some bleeding there now. You can see it. You don't feel it because there's no nerves in there.
And didn't they have to inject the polyp to get it to lift up?
Yes, so
it could get to it easier.
Yes, they injected some blue dye into it just to lift it, a little bit like a mushroom. So the mushroom was sat a bit like a toadstool, a bit flat. So just to lift it, and then they could snare it. And once they'd snared the 3 pieces off, 2 they took out with the claws, and the last piece they left there for the time being. And then what he does then, he cauterized it with heat, so it's all fed through and done through the scope.
It's amazing, isn't it, what they can feed through that tube? Yeah,
the smoke coming off.
The smoke.
and
could you smell burnt flesh?
Yeah. And what they do, they put a plate on your thigh, stick a plate on your thigh, a metal plate was covered in rubber to make it earth. You need earth to make it earth.
And you didn't feel a thing while this was happening?
No, nothing whatsoever. You can sever it, you don't feel a thing. And then once you cauterized it, he then put these little tiny clips, stainless steel or titanium clips, like little crocodile clips, and clipped it, he says, for belt and braces. And then he says, I'm going to tattoo that for future. And they put a little tattoo on there if they ever come back to it. He did take another little one off. And then he said, I'm going to leave the 3 little ones and we'll get you back to
So there was 5 then? There was 5?
5 altogether. So the other 3 he left, he says, to a later date. He says, because they're not urgent. I'm not worried about those. We've got the big one out. Because that's the main thing. And then when he pulled the scope out, there was still this piece of...
Can we just answer this from Andrea? Hi, Kevin. When you had the polyps, did you have a sore stomach? You didn't, did you?
No.
The only symptom you had was the bleeding, rectal bleeding.
And no pain from the blood. It was just the visual blood in the poo.
Yes.
So no sore stomach. So, and then the lady said, that's all done. He said, we just need to get this last piece of polyp out because it's still inside the bowel. He says, it's too big to grab with a claw. He says, well, what I'm going to do, Kevin, I'm going to fill you with gas until you cramp. He said, I want you to bear down and we're going to blow it out. And that's what we did. And I said, okay. So he filled me with gas until I couldn't sort of bear the cramp anymore. And then he says, okay, go. He says, basically, the big fart.
Yes.
Now, so I did. And I felt it pop out onto the couch, into his hand. And then he went like this, I've got it, all good, we're all clear. And then he puts it through a...
So no pain whatsoever during the procedure, just a bit of cramping with the gas, that's all. Yeah.
It's all very fascinating, very simple, very straightforward. I had a great team, and I thanked them afterwards. They were just so good, so professional, so talented, you know.
And of course, that polyp that they removed, that was sent off for biopsy.
Then they sent that for biopsy, but after, because I had surgery on the same day, what they did was they take you to a recovery room for an hour, and they keep an eye on your blood pressure, things like that. Make sure you're okay, you don't feel faint. But I wasn't sore or anything. I was just dying for a cup of tea and drinking biscuit.
A jammy dodger, Kevin.
I says, excuse me, I says, can I have a cup of tea, please? She says, you can in a bit, Kevin. We should keep an eye on your blood pressure and everything else. I says, can I have a biscuit as well, please? She says, we've got some biscuits. I says, can I have 2? She can have as many as you like. I said, what's starving? So they bought this tray of biscuits eventually when all my blood pressure was clear and then everything was good. And that cup of tea, well, it was just unbelievably good. It was so nice. After 30 hours and a biscuit put in, it did the job. So I think I gobbled about 3 packets.
So we haven't got a lot of time left. So can you just explain what happened next then? So they discharged you from hospital. They said that you'd got to come back because they wanted to remove the other 3 smaller polyps. Right. So you went back a few weeks later for a sigmoidoscopy, didn't you?
Yes, so it wasn't a full colonoscopy, but you still have to do the same prep. All about prep, exactly the same thing. You've got to have a clean bowel. And I think it was about 3 months after, I think, they got me back.
No, I don't think it was. No, a couple of months maybe, yes.
So they got me back in and, it was sigmoidoscopy. I can't say it. I've got teeth missing, everyone. My teeth have been falling out this year, as well as my I'm just falling to pieces. In my voice, I feel like my jaw's collapsing sometimes. I go to this new dentist. I've got this pulled 3 teeth out. I'm wondering if this practicing on me. I do. So apart from 3 teeth missing, about 4 virus from my granddaughter and coughing in my face.
Yeah, since she started nursery, she's brought all these viruses over. Well, Kev, we've got loads of antibodies now, so.
I know.
So yeah, you went for the sigmoidoscopy.
I went in there and I didn't see Dr. Stefano this time. It was his assistant, Karen. It was very, very nice for experience. And
I wouldn't have said, I don't think Karen would appreciate me calling his assistant. I think she was certainly on the same level as him.
She was actually, yeah. She said he was his friend, I don't know, yeah. But, yeah, she was very, very good. And, yeah, she works with Dr. Stefano. But she was very good. And, yeah, she took the 3 out. I felt very comfortable with the team again, very good, very experienced. Couldn't thank them enough. We had a bit of a joke along the way also with one thing or another. And so that's it now. I haven't got to go back for another year.
And you know those 3 remaining polyps, were they sent off for biopsy as well?
Yes, they sent them for biopsy. And like the first time, when they send them off the biopsy, I think you're still nervous those 10 days to get that result. They did ring me 8 to 10 days later, says, hello, Kevin, it's from the bowel screening program. We've got your results. We're going to put them in the post to you. He said, no, don't post them. Tell me now. Yeah. I said, are you sure? I said, absolutely. But with the voice, I knew it was good. You could tell with the voice. She says, you're all clear. She says, I thought you were going to say that anyway. She said, yeah, you're all clear. She said, but we'll put them in the post anyway. And the second time around. So I'm all clear.
And so now you've got to have another colonoscopy in a year's time, haven't you?
Yeah, you check on those old polyps to make sure they aren't regrowing or nothing's changed. So, yeah. And then after that, if that's all clear, I think it's 3 years after. 2 years, sorry.
2 years. So, Kev, then, just before we finish, what do you want to say to people who are nervous about, well, doing the bowel screening test and about having a colonoscopy?
Don't be nervous, just do it. And you men out there, don't be embarrassed. It doesn't matter. We're 60 years of age. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. I mean, the way I see it is, what's the alternative? Death, and no one wants that, So for me, really, it wasn't the procedure that worried me at all. It's if they found anything. But obviously when they don't, you get the all clear. It feels very good. Yeah, but yeah, just do it. Don't throw it in the bin. Don't be embarrassed by it. Don't think, I can't be bothered, or I feel okay, because I felt absolutely fine. No symptoms. It was only the spots of blood. So do examine your poo every time you go to the toilet, whatever age really. Just get up and have a look, and don't ignore it. And also check the toilet paper as well. And if you do see any signs and it's sort of ongoing, then go and see your GP if you're younger than 60 and just get it checked out.
Yes, yeah. All right. Well, thanks very much for that, Kev. So that's it then, everyone. I hope that's helped you and put your mind at rest if you're scheduled to have a colonoscopy. And I think, Kev, you're a person that likes to ask a lot of questions as well. And I think, you would encourage people, as I would, to ask lots of questions while you're there.
Yeah,
just ask questions. They're human like we are. They're doing these procedures day in and day out, and they like a bit of banter, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. They want a bit of banter. I mean, when I went in, when I'd done, she actually thanked me for going. I found that rather strange at first. She says, Kevin, I want to thank you for coming, having this procedure. And obviously, we're all good now. We've removed these polyps, but I want to thank you for coming. She said, can you please tell your friends, family members, anyone, just to do it, the screening program. We need more people because we do know that a lot of the screening kits go out and they don't come back. And it's particularly, it's men. She says, I don't want to show you. You tell them your experience. I think it's my second blog, isn't it? I did another blog with someone with the same thing. People asked me about it. I said, nothing to be ashamed or embarrassed. Just go and do it. And the team are very, like I say, put you at rest. Yeah, good.
And like you say, what do you say, Kevin? It's only your bum.
It's only your bum, don't be dumb.
Go and get tested.
Go and get tested. Yeah, that's what I would say. Just go and get tested. And obviously, whatever age you are, just keep an eye and just examine, have a look at your poo sometime. But
right, yeah, that's great. That's great. So again, thank you everyone for watching. Kevin and I do hope this has helped you. Please share it as much as you can to get, the word out there, and look out for our next live. Oh, I will be sending this video out in a newsletter probably sometime next week now, actually. So you'll be able to watch it again. But, it's available on the Just for Tummies Facebook page, in Tummy Talk, and on YouTube to watch anytime that you like. All right then, Kev, I'll see you in a few minutes. Thanks for that. It was great. Thank you, everyone, then. Good night.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.